Welcome back to Marshall Remodel. This is the Mad County Build Series. And for those of you who don't know, my name is Paul. Behind me is my post frame home that I've built. And today we're gonna go through the utilities. I get lots of questions on the utilities I've used, how I set them up. And so I decided to do a video and show you guys all of that right now. To give you a little background, this is a 4,000 square foot post frame home. It's got a 2,200 square foot attached garage. It's taken me about 2 years to build this, and we're just, getting into the final finishing touches right now. So let's go ahead and we'll jump into the utilities. I'll take you through and show you what I did and how everything's set up. The way I designed this house is for all of the main floor utilities to be in a room off of the garage. And then I wanted to box in the ductwork in the garage, sealed off from the garage, and then all my trunk lines could run through the floor joist so I'd have no drop downs in the house, which is what I did. So I'll show you that, but we also have the in-floor radiant heat system. We've got our gas manifold system. We've got our electric. We've got our water heater. And right here, eventually, I will have a water filtration system. So I kind of laid this out in a way, in my mind, kind of flowed. Just start with my water. My water line comes from the road, which is about 600 feet. I ran 1.25 inch black poly pipe all the way from the road where the pit is. And my main water line comes in right here in the corner of the utility room through this Schedule 40 4-inch PVC pipe. So this pipe goes down through the concrete 4 foot below, and then there's 2 45s that take it out about 6 to 8 feet outside the house, and that's where that line came in through. So I just filled this Schedule 40 pipe with spray foam here at the top just to seal it off. I got my main shutoff here, and then it downsizes to 1-inch pipe right here. And then we come up, we have an inlet pressure, we have a valve where I can control the pressure, and then what the pressure is on the house side. And then we come, I ran 2, these are for a spigot on the north side of the house, and then a spigot on the south side. So I just teed off my 1-inch line, and they go down into the concrete, and these actually run underneath the house. So I put these in prior to the concrete, and they run underneath the concrete. They're insulated, and they pop out, one on the north side, one on the south side. I got shutoffs here. Eventually, I left this space right here to have a water filtration system for the house. I haven't purchased that yet, but my main water line goes up and over. It feeds my hot water heater for the downstairs. It feeds my mana block water supply. And then it also feeds the upstairs utility room. So that 1-inch line comes from the 1 1/4, and it continues all the way through and goes to the upstairs utility. And then I just branch off to feed my downstairs manifold, branch off to feed my water heater. So I'm using mana block manifold system. So these are all home runs to all the places I have supply lines. So I got them all labeled here. You can see that's the cold side of the master shower, cold side of the master washer, master toilet, so on and so forth. So these are all home runs. So there's no joints in the walls except for a couple places. One is behind the washing machine, where those are located. I do have a joint where my pot filler is, and there might be 1 or 2 other places, but for the most part, there's no joints anywhere. So guys, these all run under the concrete to where they go for the downstairs. Once they get below this, they are insulated. They run below the slab, below the polystyrene, and then they pop up wherever the sinks are, the toilets are, so on and so forth. What I did to protect these over time is I boxed them in and then filled this with spray foam, so there's no way that rocks or dirt or anything can get down in there, because they actually come through the concrete in 1-inch electrical conduit to protect them. So there's elbows they go down through, and then they long turn 90 below the concrete. I have videos on all of this stuff, so you guys can go back and check them out. I've shown how I did all of this. This is a slab home, so all of this is shown in one of the videos in the Mad County build series. I will tell you, I'm really happy with the manifold system. I get questions like, how long does it take to get hot water? Well, it's no different than if you had a hot water heater. You have to wait a certain amount of time for the hot water to get there. There are ways where you can have instant hot water, but you have to have a main line that basically runs in a big loop and then branch off that. And then you have to have a pump that's constantly circulating it. I just didn't want to do that. I've had really good luck with the manifold system. It really doesn't take that long to get water to where I need it. I kind of designed the house and all of the bathrooms, the kitchen, everything to not be that far from this point. As far as heating my hot water, I have a 199,000 BTU Richmond. It's an Encore. I have 2 of these in this house. You'll see in the upstairs utility room, I have another manifold system and another hot water heater that's tankless. I have had really good luck with these. I've had these in 2 of my prior houses, so I chose to go with these again just because I've had good luck with them. You do have to clean them out once a year. There's service ports here and here, which I have a video on how to service these, to flush them, clean them with vinegar, clean the filter. But I'm happy with this, and it doesn't take up that much room, and it's a nice clean design. To the water line is I put a second 4-inch Schedule 40 4-inch pipe that goes down and outside, and there's nothing in this, but I put this in just in case I ever need to run something else in here. Whether, you know, there's lots of different things that I could end up wanting to do. This gives me the option to add it on and take it down below the ground and then come up into my utility room. This is my main gas line. We're on an LP system. I have a 2 PSI system. So that means from my LP tank, my first stage regulator takes the pressure down to 10 PSI. It comes to the house, and right outside the wall, there's a 2 PSI regulator, which is the second stage regulator. And then that feeds my manifold. And then I branch off to all my appliances. And then with a 2 PSI system, you have to have appliance regulators right before the appliance. So all of my appliances have regulators right before them.
Daddy, when are you gonna be done?
In just a little bit, honey. So you're asking yourself, why would I do a 2 PSI system? We have lots of appliances in here. We have a canning kitchen, 6-burner stove. We have another 36-inch stove in the house. We have 299,000 BTU water heaters. We have 2 furnace AC units, plus we have our in-floor heat. So we have lots of gas-fired appliances, and the only way that we could supply the amount of gas we needed was with a 2 PSI system. I have a 200 amp square D panel. I think it's a 60 space panel, and this comes in similar to the way the water does. We have EMT here, right here where it meets the concrete. I have a fitting that changes from EMT over to the Schedule 80. So halfway through the concrete, it changes from Schedule 80 to EMT. That Schedule 80 goes down about 36 to 48 inches. 90's out, goes out 8 feet, and then it goes to the pole where the main feed is. And then this is, obviously, we have These are all considered nipples that all of our wire runs through, and then it runs through that trough and then into the house and wherever it needs to go. So there was debate on whether this is legal or not. It is completely legal. If the nipples are less than 24 inches, you can run your wire through there. There is a fill calculation that you have to do. We had a rough-in inspection. The inspector was very thorough. He checked it all out. It all checked out fine, met all the requirements, and we passed on that. I wanted a nice clean look. I didn't want any of the Romex to be nailed up there. I wanted it all protected in conduit, and it just looks a lot cleaner. I have a list of what everything is, which we will print out and get that put on the wall here, so it's really easy to find what breaker does what. For our main heat source, we have a radiant in-floor heat system, which is all of this right here. I have a full series on how this was done in the entire house, from laying the tubing, the insulation, all that stuff, to installing all of your manifolds, all of your controls, your boiler. I have an NTI boiler. I chose to separate my in-floor heat from my potable water. I just like this to be all isolated on its own system. So if you guys are interested in that, you can check it out. Last winter, it was extremely cold here in the Midwest. This is the only heat source we had last year. And we had sub-zero temperatures for several, 3 or 4 weeks in a row where it got into the negative temperatures. And this held up just fine. I will tell you, I'm super happy with this. The only thing I will tell you is about radiant heat is it is not a quick turnaround. And what I mean by that is, if you're in the house and you're cold and you want to warm it up, it's not like a furnace where you can kick the furnace up 5 degrees and then 20 minutes later it's up to that temperature. It takes a while to get it up to temperature, and vice versa. When you want to lower the temperature, it's the same thing. It takes quite a while to lower the temperature, because what you're doing is you're heating up 5 inches of concrete to a certain temperature. So it's going to take a long time for all that heat to dissipate and radiate off. So you do have to pay attention to the weather, look ahead a couple days to see if you're going to have a warm up or a cool down, and then plan accordingly. But I'm super happy. We do have backup furnaces for the downstairs and upstairs, which I'll show you those. And we also have a wood stove. So my plan for next winter is to run my in-floor radiant heat at somewhere between 60 and 64 degrees, and then run my wood stove for supplement heat. And then I will have the fans on my furnaces running to circulate the air through my house, which is what I've done in the past in other residences, and it works really good. If there's any questions on the in-floor radiant heat, check out the full series I have. You'll probably be able to find most of your answers in that series. These control systems, I partnered with Curry Heating Systems. If you're interested in purchasing one of these, you can get a 5% discount by mentioning Marshall Remodel. So if you guys are in the market for that, check him out. He does a really good job building the controls. So that brings us to the last appliance here in this downstairs utility room, and that's this HVAC system. It's an Amana. It's a furnace. It's got an A-coil for the air conditioner, and this serves the entire downstairs of the house and the loft area. We've had the AC unit up and running for about a month and a half, and it is super efficient. It's super quiet. The only thing I can say is on my return here, being that this is that big, this does pop right here, so I just need to put a stiffener across it Actually, the AC is going to kick on right now, so you'll probably be able to hear it pop here in a second. So right here it pops, and right on the back side. So all I need to do is put a stiffener across here and screw it to it, and then we should be good to go on there. All right, so the utility room is right on the other side of this wall. Here are my two condensers. Got the one for the downstairs and loft area, and then this is the one for the upstairs unit. But the reason I picked the location of my utility room back in this corner is because this is the east side of the house, and here where we live, this is protected from the sun majority of the day, so these things will be able to run more efficient being out of the direct sunlight for the majority of the day. A little sneak peek, we're doing a little kitchen cabinet action right now. That's all you're getting on that. That'll be out hopefully next week. But guys, I can tell you my AC units have been running, and it is a nice consistent temperature in all the downstairs, the loft, and then back here. All of this back here past this door is isolated on its own system. There will be a door here that I can shut if I want, but with there not being a door, both units are running really well, and there's no, when you walk out here, you don't feel like a heat wave or anything like that, so I'm pretty excited about that. All right guys, so here is the upstairs utility room. It's at the end of the hall. And to give you an idea where the downstairs utility room is, it's literally right down there. Right on the other side of the wall is the attic space to the garage. So up here we have a separate water heater and water manifold supply that's separate from the downstairs. So this feeds all of the upstairs. I wanted to separate it just because this is a larger house, so we have 2 bathrooms, the kitchen, washer and dryer downstairs. Upstairs we have 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a washer. And so I wanted to keep the upstairs isolated on all of its own system. So we have the water heater and manifold system for the upstairs, and then we have the HVAC system for the upstairs. I can tell you the upfront cost of this is obviously more to have 2 utility, 2 furnace and air conditioners, 2 water heaters, 2 manifolds, but it has worked very efficiently and made things very neat and tidy and clean, which is what I like. And I'm super excited with the way this has turned out. So the ductwork for this upstairs unit does run in the attic space, which I have a video on how I did that. Like I said, these have been up and running for about a month and a half. I haven't had time to finish the install series on that. Hopefully I can get to that. I'm really happy with the way they are. My attic access is here in the utility room. This will have a door on it. Another thing, I did the same thing up here is that I did downstairs with the manifold system and the in-floor heat. So I boxed this in, filled that with spray foam just to protect these lines. All right guys, so that's a wrap on my utilities here at the Mad County Build Series. If you guys haven't been following along, check out the Mad County Build Series. There's videos on all of this stuff. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments and we'll do our best to answer them. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and we will catch you on the next video.